11.2b homework. Simplify the radical. Now this is 5/16 underneath the radical sign, which is the same as the square root of 5 over the square root of 16. Square root of 5 does not simplify, so you keep it. Square root of 16 is 4, because 4 times 4 is 16. Next, now in this case what happened is we had a fraction underneath the radical sign, and because we could not simplify 5 over 16, we broke it apart into two radicals, the radical of the numerator over the radical of the denominator, right? Now the opposite can also work, so if I have the square root of 45 over the square root of 5, I can put the whole thing into one radical, and that gives me 45 over 5, and 45 divided by 5 is 9, and square root of 9 is 3. So you can do it both ways. Simplify. Remember that we have assumed that expressions under radicals represent positive numbers. All right. The square root of d squared is d, right? Because there's an, we just simply divide that by 2. So this is really saying 2 divided by 2 gives me 1, which gives me just d. Over here, the same kind of thing. So we have d to the 8th. Because there's an understood or implied 2 there, index, we're going to divide that by 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. Go down a little bit more. So we half the exponent. So here we're saying square root of 49 times, times the square root of x squared. Well, square root of 49 is 7. Square root of x squared is just x, right? Because 2 divided by 2, right? 2 divided by 2 is just a 1. You could write it down, but there's really no reason to write all these extra steps. The key here is just the exponent 2 divided by 2. Okay, so the next one is going to be square root of 9 times the square root of x to the 6th. Square root of 9 is 3, and 6 divided by 2, right? 6 divided by 2 is 3. So we have 3x to the thirds. Next over here, on 20, we have x to the 17th. So what we would do is we would say, well, 17 divided by 2. Now this was a little bit different in that we don't get a nice even number, right? So 17 is not an even number, it's an odd number, which means even means you can divide by 2, odd means you can't divide by 2. So in this case, we're going to end up with a remainder. So 17 divided by 2 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. 17 minus 16 is 1, remainder of 1. So what we're going to end up here is, we'll end up with x to the 8th power, and then x to the first power under here, first power. The leftovers, the remainder stays underneath there. Or to write another way is just x to the 8th square root of x. Okay, over here we have another situation. So we are going to say that's equal to x to the 11 over 2 power. All right, so 11 divided by 2 is 5. So 5 times 2 is 10. 11 minus 10 is 1, remainder of 1. All right, so we say x to the 5th with x to the remainder of 1. And you don't normally write the 1, right? So you just say x to the 5th square root of x. That looks terrible. Let's fix that a little bit. And we'll say, there you go.